Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. It's been a long while since my last video. And I was going to do something different actually this weekend for a video. I had some other topics around Candace Owens' recent statements and some of the automated vehicle issues that have been going on. Even some stuff about Cybertruck, but I'm putting that on hold because of what happened today. And I gotta say, this is a weird time in history.
My king's coming back, that's what I'm banking on. Wait and celebrate the grace of God with
A group that's proposing to be peaceful is constantly fomenting violence against another group, and it lashed out. It happened. The rubber hit the road today, and I'm of course talking about the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. So I've got a lot to say about this, and I'll tell you a little bit about the Bible and how instantly a Bible verse came to my mind, prophetic Bible prophecy, and I'm actually going to talk about some other prophecy as well. So let's just watch this video to see what happens here. I'm sure you've all seen this already, but let's just take a look.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened. Oh.
Okay, I'm just going to pause that there. Let me zoom that in a bit. Yeah, there we go. That's better. This guy, I always see this guy at Trump's rallies. And he just stands there, oddly, while bullets are whizzing through the air. Let's back this up and watch it again.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened. Oh.
Move to spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you.
Ready?
Move.
Up.
Move. Go.
Up. Hawkeye's here.
Hawkeye's here. Move it to the spare.
Spare, get ready. Spare, get ready.
We ready?
And you know, that's a little bit old, that.
So, 2 people died, and the shooter died. There was, I believe it was a lady that was shot, and somebody in the stands was shot. And what's crazy about this is there were people that saw this guy climb up on the roof, the shooter, with a gun. They tried to warn police that were around. One guy said he was pointing at the guy on the roof to the Secret Service, and they were looking through binoculars. And there were multiple bullets fired. But what happened is Trump got hit in the ear. And let me just see something here. Yeah. You can see that picture. That one's circulating because once it was clear, basically the Secret Service dogpiled on top of Trump to protect him. And then once the shooter had been eliminated, they shouted that it's clear, and they stood him up. And then he turned and he just, basically showed that he's still alive and to fight, he said. Watching this whole thing escalate is just ridiculous, because the left, the people that supposedly, they said Biden was a moderate that was going to come in and unite the people. He has not done that at all. He has divided more than ever. And the fomentation of violence and outcries and dehumanizing of Trump and any MAGA supporters has been disgusting to watch. And so it was just a matter of time. everybody said this. Tucker Carlson said this, that, what's their next step? They've been trying lawfare to take him down with a politicized Department of Justice, changing laws so they can go after him beyond the statute of limitations to try and take him down, and it hasn't been working. So what's left? They want to take him out any way they can. That's what it seems like, right? So there was something else here. There's a closer shot. I'm on George Behizzi's Twitter X account. He's got a bunch of stuff up on it. There's the guy up on the roof right there. Oh wait, you can see him there. That's after he's been shot. So he got eliminated. There's something that I think happened here, and I'll try and find that, because he was narrowly missed. Like, we're talking inches, right, between the ear and his skull. Inches. So a little bit different wind direction, whatever, could have taken him out. Something, one of the video angles that I saw actually points out something interesting that I think is kind of probably what happened. I haven't heard the details yet, but let me see if I can find that video. The sad thing is there's now a bunch of Democrat supporters out there saying too bad he missed. Like, seriously, these are the type of people that are involved, that are on the other side, that are fighting against the Republicans. And it's sad. It's sad that it's come to this. We've had, 8 years of, since 2016, 8 years of constant attempts to take down Trump in some way or another, dehumanize him, make him this evil, bad Hitler guy, put him through impeachments, courts, cases, just general outright disgustingness. I'll show you some of that as well. But here's the one that I was trying to find. Let me see if I can bring that up here. Go back to the beginning.
And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened. And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and
just watch this.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Pretty sure that what happened there is this sniper took the first shot. I could be mistaken, but he's got his eyes trained on this guy on the roof. And it almost appears that he takes a shot and then you hear another shot immediately after that. Which would possibly be what saved President Trump's life, if that's true, because the bullet hit, the guy pulled the trigger, and he was no longer aiming right at Trump's head. He was slightly off. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just speculating here, but just watch this again.
A little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
I'm not so sure, because you hear the shot, although there's the sound, the light travels faster than sound, so it almost looks like the guy pulls back after hearing a shot. So it's hard to tell, because maybe the shot that was fired startled him and then he engaged with the shooter. But that's something that's interesting. Now, what I wanted to do was to bring up, Bible prophecy. Instantly, when I heard this story, there's a verse in the Bible in Revelation 13 that came to mind. And the thing is, you always need to be alert, keeping your eyes on the scripture, because the word of God is true. It's sharper than a two-edged sword. It divides bone and marrow. It hits the spirit, and it lasts through time. It's ageless, and it's predicting the future in multiple places, but it's obscure to look at. So I instantly thought of this verse in Revelation 13, and it just made me think about this, because Trump just got shot basically in the head, close to it, right? So this verse says, bring it up here, verse 3, I saw one of his heads as if it had been fatally wounded, and his fatal wound was healed, and the whole earth was amazed and followed after the beast. They worshipped the dragon because he gave his authority to the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like the beast, who is able to wage war with him? Interesting. So it made me think, is Trump the Antichrist? Is he the beast? Right? And I don't believe he is, but he just about got shot in the head. It seemed to miraculously survive it. So what does this mean? And then I looked at it, kind of on the flip side. It's talking about somebody that's been fatally hit in the head or suffers a fatal injury. One of his heads as if it had been fatally wounded, and his fatal wound was healed. And, just as a joke, I thought, well, Biden's brain dead. Maybe he's the beast. I don't think either of them are the beast. But what it did is it spurred me on to investigate further, because this whole chapter is about this apparent kingdom, world kingdom that rises up in the earth. And it has some very specific characteristics and attributes to it. And a lot of people originally thought this was the EU, because the EU appeared to be starting out as kind of like a revived Roman Empire. And, there were some prophecies made about that, and, maybe the EU is the one. I'm not ruling out that the EU is connected. I'm just thinking now that this has stirred some thoughts in my head. So it says, right from verse 1, it says, and the dragon stood on the sand of the seashore. Then I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns and 7 heads. And on his horns were 10 crowns, and on his heads were blasphemous names. So 10 horns, and those 10 horns have 10 crowns. So that seems to imply rulers, 10 rulers, or 10 governments. And then it says 7 heads with blasphemous names. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard, and his feet were like those of a bear, and his mouth was like the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his throne and great authority. So who's associated with the bear often on the world scene? Russia, right? Who's associated with the dragon? China. Is there some conglomeration of governments coming together that kind of fit this? Yes. Yes, there is. It's called BRICS. Where can I go to? This? No, not that. This? No, that. There. That. BRICS. BRICS countries. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Let's get this to fit better. Sorry about that. These BRICS nations are coming together right now. And how many are there? there are 6, wait a minute, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 founding nations plus these new nations make 10, 11 if you count UAE. So these are the new members of BRICS. So we're now looking at numbers and kind of symbology that matches what's described in that Revelation chapter 13. The bear, the dragon. I don't know if other countries represent like the leopard and like South Africa. I don't know. The leopard and what was the other one? Lion, mouth of a lion. So that's interesting. So if this is talking about BRICS, then one of those leaders is going to appear to have a fatal wound. And it's not actually the leader, it's talking about the heads, not the horns, the heads. I mean, there's a lot of nuances here, and there's a lot of different Bible prophecies that go into this more in depth than I am. People that look at this and study this more, but I just thought it was interesting. And how does AI tie into all this stuff? Like a fatal wound and then appearing to come back to life. Could that actually be something AI generated? Maybe somebody leader or somebody important does die. That's part of this multi-nation government that's acting as one body basically. And then he's brought back to life, appearing to be alive, but it's actually just AI. I don't know. The Bible isn't clear on that. And it says they worship the dragon because he gave his authority to the beast, and they worship the beast, saying who is like him. A mouth was given to him, speaking arrogant words, blasphemies. Where is it? Oh yeah, arrogant words and blasphemies, and authority to act for 42 months was given to him, and he opened his mouth in blasphemies against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, that is, those who dwell in heaven. It was also given to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and authority was given to him over every tribe, people, language, and nation. Interesting. So where does this go? The other thing that has been brought up is just how the left, who's supposed to be this unifying force, is often the ones that work with Marxist-like activity to dehumanize their enemies so that they can be unjustly treated. And it's really like a Hitlerian type move. But here's just a few
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
That's it right there. Pull it up.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. and you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
So they wonder why people are radicalized to actually try and take out Trump. It's because they've been told. They've been told he is public enemy number one. Take him out. And it's just, it's sad. It's sad to see. So there he is. He's been shot. This will boost his ratings now because they took a shot and missed. So, you know, what was the purpose? What was the point of this? Why would you do this? Just dumb. And now there's people online saying they missed. Why couldn't they be a better shot? So, I'm just feeling shocked today that this has happened, but at the same time not shocked. You know, these things are biblical. Biden himself, let's take a look at what Biden has said. He made speeches that, well, we all know the optics looked very Nazi-ish. And what he was saying was basically dividing the country. And it was just a different tone. Like when Trump talked, he talked about individuals, usually putting down individuals, and he's kind of a brute, gruff guy who says things. I don't agree with him. I think he's the better choice right now between the choices out there. And I'm in Canada, so it is going to affect us. It already is affecting us. Right now in Canada, the Trudeau government is in cahoots with the DNC. They work closely together. And our major news outlet, the CBC, is very much in line with CNN and MSNBC, and also run by a lady that lives in the States right now, and is a complete Democrat supporter person. So that's what we have here. So what happens in the States affects Canada as well. But I wanted to bring up this video with Biden here because he also foments the anger that we see. And he is not a moderate, and he's not uniting the country.
President Biden giving a fiery address to the nation, saying the real threat to democracy comes from MAGA Republicans.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They're MAGA Republicans. Extreme MAGA Republicans. MAGA Republicans, extreme MAGA ideology. MAGA Republicans. MAGA forces are determined
that
to
red
take this
background.
country backwards. The MAGA Republicans believe that for them to succeed, everyone else has to fail. MAGA Republicans look at America and see carnage and darkness and despair.
History is watching. Just like history watched 3 years ago on January 6th, when insurrectionists stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger to the throat of American democracy. Many of you are here on that darkest of days. We all saw with our own eyes the insurrectionists were not patriots. They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power, to overturn the will of the people. January 6th lies about the 2020 election and the plots to steal the election posed a great, gravest threat to U.S. democracy since the Civil War.
Despite losing in the courts and in the court of public opinion, these forces of intolerance remain determined to undermine and roll back the progress you all have made. This time, they, not you, have an ally in the White House. This time, they have an ally. They're a small percentage of the American people, virulent people. Some of them the dregs of society.
So that's what he has said. That last video was from quite a while ago. But here's also some of Harry Sisson, who's a big supporter, paid operative of the DNC. According to the Supreme Court, Biden could now send in a SEAL Team 6 to take all of them out. He could send in the military to take out Trump. He has immunity for official acts now. As if that's what the Supreme Court was saying. The left is the violent ones. They're the ones burning down buildings. They're the ones fomenting violence. Here's another example. There needs to be unrest in the streets. Protesters should not let up. If you see anybody from the cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, or in a gasoline station, you get out and create a crowd and you push back on them and you tell them they are not welcome anymore, anywhere. I just don't know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be. Wonderful voices there. Wonderful attitudes. Trump is in the midst of this, and he's the only one who really doesn't need to be there. He's a billionaire. He's got beautiful resorts, golf courses, his wife, his family. He could be spending his time not in the limelight like this, but he's there. So he's the only one on that stage, the presidential election stage, that is fighting for the people, not for himself, because he doesn't need this. He's not in anybody's pocket. So this is why I think he's the best option for the United States. He's not bought out and owned by anybody like the super PACs want to do. So what about prophecies? Now, this is interesting. I just saw a couple prophecies. Let's see if I can find them. I'll switch back to here. There was one in particular that was like, wow, this guy was bang on. Sorry to use bang in this situation. Maybe the wrong choice of words. This was back in April. And listen to this prophetic word. This is crazy. I got to start it over.
All throughout America, and I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking. People say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus, for what I saw coming. And then I saw people interceding when I saw him winning the presidency through great. The Lord showed me it would go clear into the summer. Great persecution would come on him through the judges and through the law and all these people trying to sue him and all this stuff. But there would be a stop to it, and things would start to break free come toward the fall. And then I saw him winning the election through the Patriots coming out and voting. And
just an interesting word. It wasn't quite accurate on things, and I don't know if Trump is going to become a born-again Christian. He's definitely had prayer warriors around him praying for him, so you never know. I pray for the United States. Whatever the situation turns out to be in November, it's just such a weird time. It's like we are entering a new civil war or something. Or it could easily turn into that, with just competing minds, just disagreements that are so strong, and dehumanization. It's happening on both sides, I will say that, where there's hate growing and just a rift dividing people. And we need to pray for common sense, wisdom, unity, and getting back to God. That's what the Western worlds were founded on, is Judeo-Christian principles, the God of the Bible. And I'm going to talk about a project on my next video that's happening right now that you can support to help bring biblical education back into schools, but from a scientific perspective. So we'll talk about that a little bit on the next video. Pray for the United States, pray for North America, pray for the Western countries. There's a shift that's happening. There is a culture shift happening, but there's also, in an attempt to be open to everyone, ideologies that don't want the Western ideology to exist are entering into countries seeking to overthrow and take control and destroy countries. And this is happening more and more. We're seeing it. And there's resistance to it, but the resistance is getting labeled as right-wing extremism when it's really not. It's just common sense. We need to address what's happening with immigration and with the ideologies and with the history of our countries. If we don't recognize who we are as a people, we will fall apart in chaos. And so that's why we need to pray. Without vision, the people perish. We need our vision back. We need God back. Anyways, that's all I got to say for tonight. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Pray for the United States this coming election. Pray that there's breakthroughs in common sense and people come to their senses and come to God. We pray for revival to break out, even if Donald Trump gets saved, or Biden, or somebody else that steps in. We pray for godly wisdom and a breakthrough of love, peace, justice, and not this warfare, lawfare that's going on right now, which is just destroying everything. So thanks, guys. Have yourself a great night.
To reaching the top of the summit, I was about yay high when Yahweh told me to run it. Only a matter of time before my mob be to hit in 100. I swore a sign, he told me to pay more attention, he already done it.